Imagine this. You're part of a military team, and you're up against an enemy with technology so far beyond yours, it might as well be magic. You're outgunned, you're outmatched, and you're staring at a fortress that, by all logic, shouldn't even exist. So today, we're going to break down exactly how a small team tackles a problem that looks, well, impossible. And that question, from a soldier named Monroe, it just cuts right to the bone, doesn't it? The stakes here aren't just high. They are literally life and death. The pressure is on, and every single decision could be their last. It's this perfect moment of doubt that frames the insane challenge they're about to take on. So this whole operation really boils down to one thing: deconstruction. And I don't just mean knocking down walls. I mean deconstructing a problem that looks completely unsolvable. How do you find a crack in something that looks absolutely perfect? That's the real puzzle they have to solve, all while under the gun and with the clock ticking. Okay, first up, let's talk about this fortress. And I mean, this thing isn't just a wall, it's a statement. A massive physical declaration of technological superiority that seems to just laugh at the laws of engineering as we know them. This is the one question that's just eating away at the team's leaders, Monroe and Benedictus. You know, it's one thing to fight an enemy you understand. It's a whole different ballgame when you're facing an obstacle that seems to be operating on a completely different set of physical rules. Okay, so let's break down these impossible problems. There are two big ones. First, you've got the gate. It's this solid slab that just goes up. Scans don't show any locks, no gears, no hydraulics, no nothing. It just moves. Then there are the walls. We're talking about an absolutely insane amount of tungsten, coated in a rare titanium nitride. The materials alone, at this scale, shouldn't even be possible. And then you get this from Benedictus, the guy in charge. When the one person who's supposed to have all the answers looks at it and says, "As far as I know, it's impossible." Yeah, that's when you know just how deep the trouble really is. It perfectly sums up the chasm in technology they're trying to cross. So, okay, kicking down the door is not an option. They have to get smart. The whole strategy has to shift, right? From brute force and demolition to pure intel. If they can't break the armor, they have to find a crack in it, no matter how small. And this really gets to the core of Benedictus's whole mindset. He believes perfection is a myth. If you stare at something long enough, poke at it from enough angles, you will find a flaw. So the plan is simple but painstaking. Scan everything. Every tower, every wire, every signal, until something doesn't add up. So their tech operative, Damont, gets to work, and the results that come back are kind of weird. Okay, 4 troops per tower, fine. But their gear? It's next-level stuff, with bioelectrical integration. We're talking tech that's wired right into their nervous systems. And then you see the satellite dishes. This is the part that makes no sense. One big one pointing straight up into the sky, and 4 smaller ones aimed down. It's a puzzle. And you know what? That weird, illogical satellite setup, that turns out to be everything. It's the loose thread that's about to unravel a massive secret about who they're really up against. This is where Captain Collins asks the one question that changes the game. See, if you know anything about satellites, you know they usually point somewhere towards the equator to hit those geostationary orbits. So pointing one straight up, especially way up north where they are, that's not just odd, it's a massive red flag. It's the one piece of the puzzle that just doesn't fit. So Damont gets to work, runs the numbers on that weird angle, and he comes back with this: 63.4 degrees. Now to you and me, that's just a number. But if you're in the world of military communications, that number is a dead giveaway. It's a signature. And that signature points to only one thing, something called a Molniya orbit. And get this isn't some brand new futuristic tech. This is old, Cold War-era Soviet military tech. It's an orbit designed for one specific reason: to spy on and communicate over the northern hemisphere. And just like that, the impossibly advanced enemy suddenly has a very familiar, very human past. And that outburst from Collins says it all. You can feel the energy in the room shift. This is that eureka moment. All these confusing dots on the map suddenly connect into a picture they can actually understand. Their enemy isn't from the future. They're using ghosts from a fallen empire. Okay, so now they have something, a potential weakness. The time for just watching and waiting is over. It's time to make a move. And they cook up this plan. It's a huge gamble, But if it pays off, it could give them the opening they desperately need. Let's walk through this plan because it's pretty brilliant. The goal is to get the enemy's automated defenses, these things called killbots, to go chase a ghost. So they create a fake crisis. They shut down a real power station, then juice up a bunch of decoy stations to the south, and at the same time, they start broadcasting fake military radio chatter to make it sound like a major attack is happening there. It's a classic misdirection play, just on a massive scale. And just like that, with that clipped all-business confirmation from Damont, the switch is flipped. The op is a go. No going back now. You can just feel the knots tightening in everyone's stomach as those dominoes start to fall. And now comes the absolute worst part of any military operation, the waiting. They've sprung the trap. Now they just have to sit in the dark and hold their breath and pray the enemy walks into it. So picture this. The clock starts, 6 agonizing minutes. The first thing that happens is all the killbot icons on their map just freeze. They're processing the new data. For minutes that must have felt like hours, there's just silence. The tension in that tent must have been suffocating. And then, at the 0 mark, every single enemy blip on that screen pivots at the exact same time and starts heading south. They took the bait. Hook, line, and sinker. And that is the moment, the release. You can just imagine the absolute explosion of sound in that tent. Cheers, shouts, pure relief. The plan actually worked. This perfect enemy, this impossible foe, wasn't so perfect after all. They just proved it. But that feeling, it doesn't last long. Because this was just one move. A brilliant one for sure. But it was just one move in a much, much bigger game. They bought themselves a little bit of time. But that fortress, it's still standing. And the real enemy is still inside. And Benedictus, the leader, he's the one who brings everyone crashing back down to earth. He reminds them that this victory was paid for. People died to get them this chance. And now they have to honor that sacrifice by seeing this through. The fight is nowhere near over. In fact, it's really just getting started. And that's where we have to leave them. They managed to outsmart their enemy by digging up a ghost from the Cold War. But that just solves today's problem. What about tomorrow? How do you really win a war when your opponent's technology fundamentally changes the rules of the fight? They found one crack, but the fortress is still there. And it's still impossible.